Alright guys, let's talk about everything we learned from last night's game versus the Green Bay Packers. Starting off right away, Jonah Williams is the starting right tackle. There's no longer a competition. Last night proved to us that it is officially his job. As last night he did not dress, and there was a couple of jokes, that's memes, that he was on the sideline like a water boy. It's official, he is now the starting right tackle for this team. Now obviously if Collins comes back healthy, then that does change some things up. But we might not see much of Jonah Williams this whole entire preseason. What I expected to see was we saw Jonah and Carmen last night, half and half, and kind of saw, who played better. But according to the coaching staff, that is not simply the case because we didn't see him out there. And if he was competing for the job and it was a battle, he would be out there. So that, I guess, congratulations to Jonah Williams. It makes perfect sense because Jackson Carmen so far in training camp and practice has been absolutely awful. And then if you looked at him last night, he did not look that good in any stretch of imagination. So now it's going to be, again, Jonah Williams' job. So we're going to have to see how that progresses into the season. Number 2, for offense, I will say. What we learned last night was Chase Brown got some moves, man. And we expected this going into this game, right? Don't get me wrong. We expected that the fact that he's nifty, elusive, and it's hard to take him down. But I think last night we got a true example on how good he is. Now, of course, between the tackles, he didn't actually get too many crazy yards. I think he had like 9 yards on the day. It wasn't anything too insane. But he did convert a couple key third downs where, as Coach said, he's not, he's a smaller guy, right? But he was physical. And there were 3rd and 1s where most running backs his size would get slammed backwards or stopped or just couldn't, pick up anything. And he was picking them up. And in the screen game, he was a tank. This man was just getting that ball into screen passes, making moves, and getting yards. So that's amazing to see, and we love to see that. Now, Travion was not out there last night, mainly because, again, he's injured. So, and we also did not see any Jacob Sayers or Calvin Tyler Jr. Really, all we saw was either Chase Brown or Chris Evans. Now, this, of course, is because they want to give those guys as many reps as humanly possible. And Chris Evans looked good. Chris Evans did have the longest run in the night, which was like 25 yards. The longest play of the night for running backs was like a 30-yard screen pass to Chase Brown. But for running-wise, it was Chris Evans. And to be honest, every time he had the ball in his hands, he looked like he was pretty dang good at running the football, right? So, Travion better get back soon because you got 2 more preseason games and some training camp, but Chris Evans looks really good, and same thing with Chase Brown, which could speak those 2 guys as the backups. Now, we did have an injury last night, but I'm going to go to the tight end group next. Tight end group was an interesting group. Tanner Hudson was the guy who had the most actual receptions, and he was really the guy who, really only guy who got receptions, and I don't know why. Oh, there he is. Okay, so my bad. He you might say, wait, where is Tanner Hudson? Tanner Hudson is so far down this list. Let me show you guys this. He's over here on the right hand side. I had to take away my face so we could actually see his his icon here. But yeah, he got 4 receptions. I think he had like 20 yards. He hurt another guy and he got hurt. Other than that, no one else in the tight end group really did anything last night. Bowers did do something. I think Bowers had, 1 reception, but that was pretty much that. So it was a really struggling night for Trevor Siemian and Jake Browning. Both of them put up, Jake Browning put up almost 100 yards, and Trevor Siemian put up over 100 yards, but it was a struggling night for them to get in rhythm and the offensive line to get in rhythm. Jake Browning looked immensely better in the first half after he got in his rhythm, but Trevor Siemian never simply could get in his rhythm. One thing I will say, though, and again, this is the first preseason game. There was all backups offensive linemen in. They didn't really have the time to throw the ball. For the offensive line, right, and I'm going to say the next thing is offensive line, they look bad. They looked really bad as the backups. And I know it's kind of ironic to say because it's like, well, the backups. Yeah, but they're also going against backups. And the guy who kept getting beat a lot last night, Jackson Carman, surprisingly enough, looked probably the best. And he's been definitely struggling, but he's definitely looked the best last night. I say the guy who worked the worst last night, a lot I saw was where's the guy? Ben, not Ben Brown. Yeah, Ben Brown. He didn't look that great last night. Hakeem looked decent last night. They put Hakeem in a lot last night. And then for Jackson Carman, they actually put him back in the fourth quarter at the end of the game. I don't know why the reporters asked that, and coach just said pretty much, well, we did it because, that's what we wanted to do. So, Jackson Kirkland definitely was not perfect, okay? He played good. I would say this. He played good. He did not play perfect. There were some plays where you look at it and you're like, I don't know if I really like how he played there. Donta Smith played a lot, and Donta Smith did not look good. He had a couple plays where he looked okay, but mostly he did not look good. So, the more of the story is, our backup depth is still a huge problem. Again, Jackson Kirkland, I'm hoping he continues to progress and get better, but other than that, there was no one last night in this offensive line you looked at and you said, wow, that was a great line. So, it's definitely something to take into consideration. Now, again, keep in mind that we started off with our backup offensive line. They started off with their number 1 unit. So, and then they went to number 2, number 3. Wide receiver, the best thing to say from last night is that Yoshi made the roster. Yoshi made the roster. Andre made the roster 1,000%. And not only that did he make the roster, Trevor Siemian and Jake Browning, they trust him more than anything. I mean, they were over-targeting him last night, and it seemed like whenever they needed to make a play, it was to him. And that's really, really awesome to see. I mean, the only deep pass of the night really went to Andre, which is absolutely amazing. Charlie Jones did play last night. He got a couple punt returns, and he had like maybe 1 or 2 targets, and he had like 1 reception. He didn't really get many targets or really get open that much last night, which it is what it is. I mean, he's coming off injury. And again, like I said, it seemed like the quarterbacks really trusted Yoshi more. So, Chuck Sizzle didn't do too much. But another guy who did actually got a lot of receptions was 2 guys. Kwame, and it was also Jackson. Now, Jackson was what caused the interception, technically, by Jake Browning. I say technically because the ball was overthrown and it was through his hands. But it was definitely interesting, though. It was overthrow, but I feel like he could have came down with the football. Kwame looked really good last night, and he definitely is making a name for himself. Probably not on this team, in all honesty, but he's making a name for himself overall-wise. Now, that's offense. Defense, we got to talk, man. We got to talk about this defense. First off, Allen George got destroyed a lot. George was getting absolutely annihilated, like mostly during the game. I mean, there was a big PI call against him, but he was getting annihilated. And he's definitely a liability in that back end of that defense. Sidney Jones, and I know he did give up that touchdown in the end zone earlier in the game. And yes, obviously I could point that out. But I don't think he played bad. I think Sidney Jones played pretty dang well. With everything being considered, he played a pretty good game. And I don't really say there's anything I take away like, oh yeah, he was a bad player or there was a problem. No, I think he played okay. He didn't play great. He did not play great, but he played okay. Obviously, Tyson Anderson played the best. He had 2 interceptions, 3 tackles. I mean, listen, he played his lights out football. Dax Hill played very well, which we really love to see in all honesty, especially with the fact that he almost had an interception in this game. Jordan Battle played outside of his mind too. He didn't play as good as Tyson Anderson, but he played outside of his mind, and you love to see that because there was one pass that was deeper that could have been maybe an interception, maybe a touchdown, and he batted the ball down and got away. He avoided the chance of a touchdown, which you'd love to see. DJ Turner made one huge play last night when it came to a 3rd down and long. He knocked the ball right out of the hands of the receiver. Again, like I said, it's just plays like this you need to see. Poison Ivy, another really great player last night. He had a couple really good plays and a tackle for a loss, which, again, plays after plays after plays. For middle linebackers, what I will say is that last night we saw a lot of Shaka. Shaka did mess up on a couple plays, which, he is young. He is a rookie. It's going to happen. He's undrafted. Who else we got? Keandre Jones. He had a couple good plays. A couple really good plays, but he also messed up on a couple plays, too. Which, again, like I said, Joe Bacci played outside of his mind. And a guy you might just not think about or talk about, he played very well. For the defensive line, Jeff Gunner played very well. He got a couple really good plays. Owen Carney had a couple good plays. The fumble was by Raymond Johnson III. The fumble on Clifford, the Big Red Dog. That was on Raymond Johnson III, which, again, like I said, you love to see plays like that. And then Jay also played really, really good. So, again, the takeaways from this game is that we're going to see these cuts. We're probably going to see Allen George cut. I would probably guess we see Allen George cut. Maybe not this week, but maybe after next week if he has another bad game. We're probably going to see, again, some of these players down here get cut. It is what it is. Like, at the end of the day, we have to make cuts, and some of these guys, while, yes, like, for example, Shaka played very well in that game, there are some mistakes he made, and that's going to cost him a roster spot. It's not like, we want to. It's just the end of the day, you kind of have to, right? You have to slim down the roster, and you gotta have to, even the little things are gonna cost some things. I'll be honest with you, I think offensive line, they're not gonna cut anyone right now, because they're gonna just wait to see what's going on in this offensive line. Because there's so many moving pieces last night that, again, like I said, they all did not look good. So, I think they're gonna figure out what's going on there. We're probably going to end up cutting the other two running backs unless we get some more playtime with them next week or the week after that, because they're not really getting that much playtime. Usually running backs, like, if you look at other teams last night with preseason, you'll see they'll have like 12 different running backs running the ball. We've had like, 2 or 3 last night. And that's because we didn't really use our other guys. And I think it's because they want to see what they have in the guys we have. Or that are actually going to make the team. So, again, like I said, Brad Robbins looked amazing last night. That's great because I think that probably means Drew Chrisman's not going to be getting this job, and he's probably going to be going, which it sucks, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, it's football. That's what we got to kind of go for. But with that being said, guys, tell me down below your thoughts and opinions. We have a preseason game next week versus the Atlanta Falcons. I will be live. Make sure you stay tuned to the channel for that. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.